And welcome back. This is Nick Shikarsky with the Nick Shikarsky Podcast, researchteacher.com. And what I wanted to do today is talk a little bit about technology. I haven't written about technology or anything related to it, I think, since Steve Jobs passed away in 2011. So it's been almost exactly 5 years. I remember when he died. I was living in Palo Alto at the time, so I went by the Apple store down on University Avenue, one of the first ones that was built, and people had put some flowers and candles out, and I walked by his house. I remember there were flowers and people putting chalk on the sidewalk and stuff like that. But technology and computing has been part of my life for most of it. I remember being introduced to computers back in the late 80s or early 90s. I don't even remember exactly which model computer it was that I first started using back in computer class in school, but it was a Macintosh. So it might have been a Macintosh Plus or a Macintosh SE. I was looking up online some of the different models, and I think the Plus was the closest looking one to what I remember, but it was something along those lines. It might have even been a Macintosh Classic, but that's what really got me interested in computers. I'm not a tech specialist or anything like that by any means, but I have had plenty of experience, as many people in my generation, the millennial generation, have. We grew up with technology, so it's just a normal part of our life. So if my parents or other people I know have tech problems, then I'm often the one trying to solve them. And the nice thing about technology these days is that it's become much more user-friendly. It's more complicated in the sense that you have many more options. I'm just looking around my room right now and just seeing all the different kind of electronics that I have and the things that need to be charged, and how it can get a little complicated sometimes. But the thing that makes it easier is that when you have a unified ecosystem that works together, at least most of the time, and I think that's one huge asset of Apple. And Apple products are known worldwide. Of course, the iPhone is their big flagship product. It's kind of funny because what started out as a computer company turned into a phone company. And it's, you can't really make that distinction too dramatically, because the iPhone is essentially a portable computer. And I know people will argue about that, but your typical iPhone has more computing power than was available to NASA when they were doing the Apollo missions to the moon and things like that. So it's really a radical change in what computers are capable of, how much technology many of us have in our pockets, or even now on our Apple Watches or any other types of technology that we can carry around, especially laptops. A laptop, high-end laptop that you're carrying around with is just, it's like a supercomputer of what they had 20, 30 years ago. So the technology has evolved dramatically, and it's improved our lives. It's made things a little more complex in some ways, but I think it's possible to navigate it and make it work for you. So technology is a huge topic. I'm not going to, cover everything that I would want to talk about with technology because it's so deep, but I think it'll give plenty of ideas for future podcasts. But what I wanted to focus on was one specific piece of technology that has been recently announced by Apple. And if you watched their keynote back on, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago in San Francisco, one of the products that they announced, which I think was pretty under-hyped and but has huge potential, and people are beginning to see that, are the AirPods. The AirPods are Apple's Bluetooth earphones, headphones, however you want to call it, earbuds. It's basically like your standard Apple earbuds, but without the wire. So unlike a lot of Bluetooth headsets, there is absolutely no wire even connecting the two earpieces together, as you often have for Bluetooth headsets, especially those focused on athletics, so that you have that extra cable to keep things together, and if one falls out, you don't lose both of them. So with the new AirPods that Apple announced, there's no cable. You just have a left earpiece and a right earpiece with a long kind of the same kind of tube or stick type thing that's sticking out of them now, except I think it's a little thicker because that's where most of the battery is. The unique thing about these is that they are advanced technologically in various ways. These aren't just standard headphones meant for listening to music. The best way I heard them described was, I believe it was The Verge or some other such tech publication, described them as Siri machines. Siri is Apple's virtual assistant. It's what you can use on your watch or your iPad or your iPhone, basically to give simple tasks or commands that, set a timer for 5 minutes or start a workout or remind me to get X when I leave my house. And then you have a geo-fenced location thing in your house if you have location services on your phone, and then when you leave your house, you'll get a reminder to do whatever you want to do, go buy some milk or go to the post office. And what the AirPods are going to do is really facilitate the use of Siri. Siri has already gotten much better than it initially was. It has a lot of room for improvement. We're really at just the very beginning of this type of voice recognition, personal assistant technology. But this is really, I think, going to be the breakthrough for making it much more ubiquitous and something that's used much more commonly in just day-to-day life. Because I do use Siri, but it is it's still on the cusp of that novelty factor where I can pretty much do everything else that I do with Siri without doing Siri. But when I do it and I know the conditions under which Siri works, it does make things faster and simpler and less of a hassle to pull out your phone and, tap this and tap that and swipe here and swipe there, when you can give a simple command through your voice to Siri to make something happen. So the AirPods are going to be things that potentially you wear more often than just for listening to music. Of course, the early focus of the AirPods and their release was that, oh my God, Apple's getting rid of the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which is the traditional, 80 or 100-year-old technology that you've had on your devices to plug in your wired headphones. And it's been a trusty piece of technology, and a lot of people have, I would say almost everyone has wired headphones if you have a phone, because just about every phone comes with them. Even the lowest quality phone comes with some headphones. But Apple decided that it has outlived its usefulness, and I think there's other factors involved there too. It's not just that, it's time to move on. What Apple's going for is they want to maximize space within the iPhone to put in new technology, to put in bigger battery, to put in, different things to make it thinner. And that's one of the probably main reasons why they wanted to get rid of the headphone jack and transition to a new type of technology and introduce a new paradigm for interacting with your devices, where Siri was a tertiary way of interacting with your phone. Siri is really going to be critical to the AirPods because there are basically no physical controls to the AirPods. The AirPods are paired automatically to your Apple devices. It comes in like a dental floss white looking case. You pop it open and it pairs with your iPhone as long as it's running iOS 10, which is the latest release of the Apple mobile operating system. And then you're paired up and you can put the AirPods in your ear and play music and give commands. And that's the thing with the AirPods too, is that they have on the end of these long stick type things that are sticking out of your ears, you have microphones, and Apple calls them beam-forming microphones, where it forms like a beam down towards your mouth that better recognizes your voice in even in crowded and loud environments. So this is the way that you interact with Siri. You double tap on the side of one of the AirPods with your finger, and that turns on Siri, and you can just start giving commands. You can start a workout, or you can tell Siri to send a text message to someone, or you can ask what your appointments are on your calendar, or you can say to make a call, or you can say, start my music, or you could say, turn up my music, or any other variety of commands that Siri can do. And if you take out one of the headphones, it will pause the music that you're listening to. You can also have just one headphone in. There are sensors on the headphones that detect when they're in your ears, so they stop playing or start playing when you take them in or take them out or put them back in. So very advanced things. There's even a wireless chip inside one of the AirPods, and that is supposed to improve battery life and make sure that the connection is strong with the Bluetooth connection to your phone, because that's been a quite frequent problem with these Bluetooth headphones, is that you have them cutting out, and it becomes really annoying. Even if it cuts out for a split second, it's something that is a jarring experience, and if you're listening to music, it takes you out of your groove, takes you out of the zone, especially when it happens frequently. So from the early reviews, I've heard a lot of positive things about the AirPods, that they connect very easily to your phone, that they don't break the connection when you're listening to music, which is highly important. They have 5-hour battery life, which some people may complain about, but I think 5 hours is plenty of time for a full charge. And then you just pop it back into this Tic Tac dental floss case, and it gives you enough charge for up to 24 hours. So it'll charge it back up to its 5-hour capacity, and then you can listen more. And from what I've read also, you can just charge it for 15 minutes, and it'll give you, I believe it's 3 hours of listening time. And like I said, you can listen to one at a time if you wanted to conserve even more battery life that way. You can listen to one and then put the other one back in, and then take the other one out, and that way you don't have them always charged. But honestly, like I said in the beginning, these might be the type of device you want to keep in your ear more often than you would regular headphones. But still, this isn't something you're going to keep in your ear all day. So I think people who complain about the battery life are just at the fringe ends, where it's not a standard use case for 99% of users. So the AirPods are priced at $159, and they are going to be released in late October. $159 is a fairly large amount of money, especially for devices that apparently sound about the same as Apple's standard wired earpods, but the thing that you get with it is this technology where you actually have no wires, nothing getting tangled, and you have probably the best device for using Siri that you can get. Better than your iPhone, better than your watch, better than an iPad. Now they have Siri on your Mac. So that's a great, thing. You can interact on all these devices. But from what I've read, what I see, and the technology involved, the AirPod is going to be the best way to get Siri. So I am going to get AirPods. It's sometime in late October. They'll be here in Poland as well. I'm looking forward to it. I want devices listen to podcasts to music to, that aren't going to have wires, something that's convenient to use Siri with, and something that's really on the cutting edge of technology. I think technology has become such an integral part of our life that when something is there that might improve things for us, may make us look at the world in a different way, then I think it's an interesting thing to interact with. So that's basically my take on the AirPods. I think a lot of people have thought of them the wrong way in initial reviews by just focusing on sound quality. A recent article that I read talked about how good enough is the standard for most people. This isn't a product for audiophiles, people who, prize sound quality above all else. But I think they're going to be very popular, and that has been verified by market research by, I believe it was Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, where in a survey of U.S. consumers, 12% of them replied that they would buy the AirPods. Now, that just seems like a huge number because I think it represents, it's like tens of millions of people. But even if it is a huge overestimate, it still represents hundreds of millions of dollars, if not several $billion in revenue potential for Apple. It could even become more popular than the Apple Watch, Apple's latest new product that came out a year and a half ago. So those are the AirPods. I think it's going to be a sleeper hit for the holiday season. Hopefully Apple makes enough to meet the demand, but if they don't, then it'll just create positive hype for them, and they'll meet the demand eventually, and people, I think, will be using these far and wide. And then, of course, they'd come just in Apple's white color, the standard color, the iconic color that you saw in iPod ads with the black silhouettes and then the white cords and AirPods. But I think that's the main push with Apple. They want people to be seen with these white AirPods. They want people asking questions about them. What are those? How do they work? How do you like them? And this will be one way of Apple generating even more buzz and marketing for their product. And then I'm sure in the near future, maybe within a year or less, they'll come out with different colors, jet black to match their latest flagship iPhones, and, rose gold or silver or whatever other colors Apple uses. And so, that should be a big, big hit. And like I said, I'm going to get them here in Poland, and then I will do a review on them, in my ear, because I can talk all about how great I think they'll be without having used them. But the thing is to actually get my hands on a pair and start using them, and I will report back to you. So that's all for now. If you like this podcast, then please leave a review on iTunes. You can also subscribe there. And this is Nick Shikarsky signing off. Visit me at researchteacher.com. Talk to you later.